I call upon my fellow youths to join me in this journey of restoring the indigenous seeds. I'm ready and willing to train you on what I've learned here at Seed Savers Network in Nakuru. I've learned on how to select seeds, how to grow the seeds, and how to preserve the seeds.
When I go back, I will teach what I learned here in our office and go to talk with the community and to begin this project. I think that is very important for us, for Gilgil, to begin the creating food seed bank.
This is my first time attending a seed school, so I've learned a lot already. I think one of the things that's left the largest impression on me is the benefit of the farmer-to-farmer learning. And farmers having the opportunity to really not just speak with farmers in a classroom, but get out on the farms and see what farmers are doing, see what techniques they're doing, and see how they're using the local resources, the indigenous resources they have to grow very successfully, and then learn from each other around how they can take the techniques they're learning and take them back to their own place.
Sharing knowledge on indigenous seeds, on conservation of agricultural diversity, on how to grow our own food, how to feed ourselves. It's everyone's business. It's the role of the government, it's the role of civil society organizations, it's the role of the farmers. Otherwise, it's the role of everyone who eats and everyone who cares, because we all need to feed ourselves and we all need to conserve our environment because of climate change.
In climate change, I can say farmer needs to mitigate, to improve. It's not we can do like you are doing in the past time, because now climate changing.
The north is usually affected by drought and floods. So during the flood season, we can train the youths and the communities in the north on how they can tap the water and store it, which they can then use during the drought season, and hence they are assured of food security all year round. Another thing that has really fascinated me is how to use the limited resources you have to grow your own food in the farm, especially organic farming. I've learned that there's no need of one wasting your farm waste, throwing it or burning it. You can use it to construct the vertical gardens. Another thing is how you can grow nduma using limited water, because most people know that nduma is grown where there's a lot of water. So using the limited resources, water, you can plant your ndumas and you're assured of all year round harvesting, which you can then sell and make a lot of money.
Look at that vertical garden. In our country, we are horizontal garden. So now using that, how to mix up where bokashi. We know bokashi also in country, but we can use the maize, the trees to put together.
Loss of crop diversity has been contributed mostly by industrial agricultural system. We have an unsustainable food system that advocate for uniformity, stability, advocate for just having a few crops, monoculture, and advocate for having one large-scale farmer feeding everyone else at the expense of having everyone else being able to feed themselves. And therefore, this system that is dependent on seed being bought from industry and is so dependent on monoculture and monopoly, where companies are supposed to make one best variety and champion that as the solution to everything, has led to a decrease in our genetic diversity. The crops that we have been growing for many years, including the local crops, are forgotten, and just a few crops are promoted.
I have had a problem of ulcers since I was in high school, and that is as a result of the processed foods, which is as a result of the conventional seeds. I would love to restore the indigenous seeds, which are more nutritious and more drought resistant, and that will help improve my health and the health of my fellow youths, fellow communities. Growing up, I saw how my grandmother used to preserve the seeds above the fireplace, and then they could be smoked, which then she could use to plant during the next harvest season. And then I've seen it disappear with time, whereby they go to the agrovets to buy the seeds for them to plant. As a youth, I would love to restore the indigenous seeds that were lost, and also love to train my fellow youths so that we can preserve the indigenous seeds, and we are assured of food security for more generations that are coming after us.
Our seed sovereignty begins by preserving, by conserving, by producing our own seed. So what I learned here is how to conserve, how to produce our seed, and how to create the seed bank. It's very important for us, because when I say to fight for the food sovereignty, you have to attain seed sovereignty. And now we are beginning how to preserve seeds, how to conserve seed. So in our project, we have to build, to create a seed bank. So what I say that is very interesting for us to learn how to create seed bank, how to conserve seed bank.
As Seed Savers Network, we have conducted surveys across the villages, and we see in only 20 years how many crop varieties we have lost, indigenous crops that are very important for climate change, well adapted. They don't need chemicals, they don't need fertilizer, but we have seen every 20 years they are decreasing, and we are able to find out this through the memory of farmers. In just 10 villages, for instance, around Nakuru area, we have lost more than 35 farmers' varieties over 20 years. And this is also because our policies don't recognize farmers' varieties. Our policies are based on commercial varieties. And you might know the commercial varieties or the seeds that we get from agro shops or from the industry contribute only 15–20% of the food that we grow and eat. The bulk of our food, which is 80%, is coming from the scale farmers, small-scale farmers. It's also coming from seed saving. The people who are saving seeds and reproducing it and sharing amongst the communities and even selling at the farmers market are the people who are feeding us. But it's not the commercial seed sector. In the next 20 years, if we don't conserve our indigenous seed, we don't conserve our indigenous food, eventually we shall end up like mostly country that is dependent on food market, where our ability to feed ourselves will be lost, and then the people will become more and more malnutritioned. Insecurity on food and nutrition is going to increase, and we are going to have a situation where we depend more and more on global food system that does not supply free food, and they also supply poor quality food, and it's not also free. We are going to have a situation where we depend on them in terms of food. And if you do that, it means for our country, like now, increased import of food, and therefore we lose on our foreign exchange. I mean, losing money to other countries as we buy food. It means more poverty. It means more people who cannot feed themselves, and it means a lot of food sovereignty. And therefore, we need to conserve our varieties, our local varieties, and we need to defend everyone's right to grow their own food and being able to feed themselves.